All right, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back. This week we got a 7 round mock draft, and the team is the Carolina Panthers. Being from the Charlotte area, I've got a lot of fans that are or a lot of friends that are Panthers fans. There we go. Um, so I usually try to put out a Panthers 7 round mock every year, for those people, so they can kind of look at it. So looking at this team, oh, also, and I kind of want to do them because they don't have a first round pick. So, them and the Browns are the two teams that we haven't really talked anything about so far in our 3 videos that we've done so far this year. Looking at probably a Steelers 7 round updated 7 round next week. So I'm excited for that. And then that's just touching some things up channel wise. But yeah, this is week 2 of trying to upload every single week, at least one video a week, up into the NFL draft. So I appreciate y'all's support last week. Let me my phone out real quick. I think we're looking at like 300 plus views on the full first round mock last week, which I mean, I can not appreciate that enough. Yeah, 318 views in 6 days. I really appreciate that. We're averaging over 200 views per video right now. Again, we've only put 3 out, but I mean, I really, guys, I can't appreciate that enough. If you're new to the channel, you like NFL draft content, mock draft content, I'm putting a video out every week unless I say I'm not going to put one out one week, which I will try to let y'all know ahead of time. That's the goal. I've been trying to do that the past few years and I haven't been consistent with it, but this year I'm really I'm trying my hardest. I want to be consistent and I want to put out the best content I can put out there. If I record a video and I don't think it's good enough, I'm not going to put it out there. So it is February the 19th, Monday. Was off work today for President's Day. And I guess Tuesday is going to be the day I upload. So I'm recording a video to upload tomorrow. Again, Carolina Panthers 7 round mock draft. Let's get into it. Looking at the Panthers team, okay? Looking at the Panthers depth chart. Starting at the quarterback, Bryce Young, obviously, that's the reason why they don't have a first round pick this year. They traded up from 9 to 1 last year with a big package, including DJ Moore. That number 9 pick, their future first for this year, and I think there was another pick involved, and I can't remember what pick it is, but a lot of people would say, oh, the Panthers got fleeced. No, they didn't. Bryce Young, I think, definitely showed the potential of himself, like what he can be in a real true team. Because let's be honest, guys, if you watch the Carolina Panthers play last year, this was not a good team by any means at all. There was a few bright spots here and there, but besides that, this team was awful. This team was awful, and Bryce Young did not have a lot of help. I think Bryce Young is going to be fine. I don't know if he's going to be as good as CJ Stroud is based off what we saw from CJ Stroud this year. And all I can say is I told y'all so on that one. But looking at Bryce Young's help, right? Let's start with his weapons. We'll start at running back down there, right here, since we're already down there in that part of this team. Chuba Hubbard actually had a really good year this year. Miles Sanders is interesting because they gave him all this money. They gave him this big contract, and he really just did not do a lot. He was a good receiving back still. But running wise, it wasn't great. Now, I will say we're going to get to the offensive line, and that was part of Bryce Young's problems with the offensive line. I will give Miles Sanders a little bit of a benefit of the doubt because that offensive line was not good last year at all, really. But Chuba Hubbard did have a better year than Miles Sanders, let's be honest. So I wouldn't be surprised if Chuba Hubbard is running back 1 going into next year. I could easily see this being like a, kind of quasi dual running back starting thing where Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders are getting the same amount of, production each week, until one of them really shows out because, besides maybe 2 games from Chuba Hubbard, they really weren't too far apart. I will say Hubbard had the better year, but Sanders, I don't think Sanders had an absolutely terrible year, but Sanders had a pretty bad year. And then also stand on there looking at tight ends. Hayden Hurst had a weird year because of the injury that he had and stuff like that. But him and Tommy Tremble and Ian Thomas, that is just a bad tight end room. They do definitely need to go out and get a tight end for sure. That's part of my needs list, which I'll talk about when we get to the mock draft simulator here in a few minutes. And then looking at wide receivers, obviously wide receivers were not helping Bryce Young a lot either. Adam Thielen had a really, really good year, actually. A lot of people were surprised by that. And I'm like, well, Adam Thielen was a really good receiver in Minnesota. So I didn't get why people were surprised by that. I was a little bit surprised at his finishing numbers because did he have 1,000? I don't think he had 1,000 yards, but he had like 800, I think 800, 900 something maybe. I was a little bit surprised by that, but I didn't think he was going to be like trash. Like everybody thought he was just going to be trash. Jonathan Mingo, young, he showed some flashes. He really didn't have a good year though, receiving wise. Fun fact though, he did have a really good PFF run blocking grade. If anybody cares about that, Terrace Marshall Jr. Sorry to say this, he had shown flashes before, but sorry to say this to him, but Terrace Marshall Jr. is on a fast track to like the XFL or the CFL. He just, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything there anymore. I can't tell because he's one of those guys where it's like you want to believe that there's something there, but I don't know if there is. And then speaking of that, two guys that have been like that, DJ Chark and Laviska Shenault, both free agents. I would not be surprised if DJ Chark is on a different team next year because he didn't really do a whole lot. And Laviska Shenault, in limited playing time, wasn't absolutely terrible. So I wouldn't be surprised maybe if they bring him back on a cheap deal if they want to as like a kind of depth. And then Amir Smith-Marset actually was a very good late in the year pickup by them. Gadget guy, just kind of running like jet sweeps and end arounds and stuff like that, returning punts and kicks sometimes, along with Raheem Blackshear down there in the running back room, who I think is a great returner for them. He's been a great returner for them for I think past 2 years now. So I think both those guys should be back. I think that'd be a smart idea. And then looking at the offensive line. Taylor Moton was a really, really good pass blocker this year. His run blocking was above average. And then flip to the other side, Ikem Ekwonu had good run blocking this year and average pass blocking. I think they're fine at the tackle spots for now, especially because, Ekwonu's top 10 first round pick 2 years ago. And Taylor Moton was, a big contract guy a few years ago. But it's really in that interior where it's interesting because Bradley Bozeman is like a below average, maybe average at best center. And then Brady Christian and Austin Corbett were both hurt last year. So it's like I don't know what comes out of those five if they all play together. I definitely think guards in play for them. They have pick number 33, which is the first pick of the second round. Um, I think guard is definitely in play for them when they come up at 33. That and wide receiver, which we'll talk about in a minute. But Chandler Zavala and Cade Mays were the main two guards last year, and they were both awful. So I don't know if they want to try to run it back with those five if they're all healthy because Austin Corbett wasn't bad in LA, and Brady Christensen's like, eh. I definitely think left guard could be replaced for sure, but they might want to run it back with right guard and center. But I think this interior of the offensive line, the wide receivers and the tight ends is definitely the main issue on the offensive side of the ball. And then going to the defense, where look at all that yellow, orange, whatever you want to call it. That's a lot of free agents. Let's start in the front seven with Derek Brown, who's listed as a D end. I'd say he's more of a defensive tackle. But they run a 3-4, right? Yeah, they run a 3-4. So they're gonna have a nose tackle, which is listed as Shy Tuttle, who did not have a good year. And then they're also listing Derek Brown and Williams as D ends, with Burns and Gross Matos, which are the edge rushers, as outside backers. Starting on the interior of the line, it's not very good. Besides Derek Brown, I definitely think they're gonna have to look at upgrading that, especially with few guys being free agents, which they probably should not bring any of them back. And Deshaun Williams is Chris Wormley, Henry Anderson definitely are not guys I would bring back. And I think Marquise Haynes Sr. I think also lined up on the inside a little bit. And I don't think he was that bad. I definitely look at bringing him back for sure. And then those edge rusher guys, Brian Burns is definitely your top priority this free agency period to bring him back. Even if you have to franchise tag him, I mean, he's really good, and you got to bring him back. I think he's definitely, if not the X factor of this defense, like this, still a top notch guy that you want to bring back. And I'll talk about who I think the X factor of this defense is in a minute. And then the other edge rusher, Gross Matos out of Penn State, second round pick in 2020. He hasn't been bad. I would probably say he's been like above average so far in his career. I think it's another guy though that you should probably look at bringing back unless you want to give DJ Johnson some run. If you don't remember, they traded up last year, like I think it was like 18 spots or something like that in third round to draft DJ Johnson with my Steelers. That's the only reason I remember that. So unless you really want to give him some burn, I think that you look at bringing Gross Matos back and Brian Burns. And then the inside backers, you got to bring Frankie Luvu back. He's been a really good inside backer for them. Shaq Thompson's getting older. Deion Jones wasn't like terrible for them, but I definitely think inside backer is a big position you got to look at this offseason too. And I'm not sure money wise, because this isn't like a rebuilding them video. This is just a mock draft video. I'm not sure free agency wise how much money they're going to have, especially with all these guys coming off contract. So I'm not sure how much money they'll have, but I think inside backer is probably a position that you can look at in free agency, if not in the draft. With some of their depth guys, being free agents too, like Gruger Hill, Kamu Gruger Hill, and Tay Davis. Then the secondary, the guy I was talking about, I think this is a big X factor of this defense is J.C. Horn. He was your first round pick in 2021, top 10 pick again, right? I think he was like pick number 8 overall, maybe. He's been a top 10. You might could argue top 5 corner when healthy. This problem is he's never healthy. If he can stay healthy, I mean, this secondary wasn't that bad. This secondary was definitely the bright spot, I think, of this team last year. And when he's on the field, their secondary gets even better. So I think he's a big key, just health wise. He's not a free agent or anything, so you don't got to worry about that right now. But health wise, if you can keep J.C. Horn on the field, like your secondary is going to be good. And then Shaquille Griffin, actually grade wise, PFF grade wise, was not terrible for them. He's a free agent. I think it's somebody that you would look at bringing back. Dante Jackson isn't terrible. Like I said, the secondary wasn't bad last year at all. And then Troy Hill wasn't that bad for them either in the nickel back spot. So he's being a free agent is definitely somebody I'd want to look at bringing back. Jeremy Chin has been kind of digressing. I would still probably want to try to bring him back, though. Sam Franklin, CJ Henderson, y'all can go, though. And then the safety spots, Xavier Woods was a really, really, really good coverage safety last year for them at the free safety spot. So I think it was a really good, free agency find from them. And then I think Von Bell, I mean, obviously, both those guys aren't free agents or anything. So I'd probably keep those guys around in their starting roles for sure. And then if you want to talk about punter and kicker, Johnny Hecker, Eddie Pinero, whatever, I might would look at getting a new kicker, but even like he wasn't bad. But yeah, I think defense is the main. I think the front 7, and then everywhere on the offense except for tackles and quarterback is the main needs for them this year. Granted, off-season free agency stuff, trades, whatever, and the draft. So let's enter this draft. Now, this is my first 7-round mock draft on PFF. The system is kind of weird compared to what we're used to at NFL mockdraftdatabase.com. It does not show you the board over here when you're not picking. When it's simulated, it does not show you the board. It shows the picks over here, but sometimes it glitches out. So it's really hard to be able to sit there and tell if you want to pause and trade up. So again, I kind of talked about it a minute ago. Panthers needs to have listed. I'd say left guard. I think center could definitely be upgraded too, though. Left guard, right guard, center, I think definitely. And then I think you need a true wide receiver 1. I think Adam Thielen could be a role wide receiver 1, but it's like they at least need a receiver, I would say. I think tight ends definitely in play. And then I would say if they lose Brian Burns or Gross Matos, especially both, I think edge is a big need. And then I'd say you probably look at inside backer. And then if Troy Hill leaves, a nickel corner. So let's get into it. I'm probably not gonna. Wow, Drake made one. Okay. This is a little slower than I expected it. Can I do the speed up now? No. Oh well, yeah, I can. Okay, so I'm not gonna trade up or anything right now. I'm just gonna hold until pick 31. The Steelers get Kool-Aid McKinstry. I'm gonna hold until pick, or sorry, not 31, sorry, 33. And just see who's on the clock here. I think Troy Fautanu being here is definitely a playable pick. I think there's a lot of picks right here. Looking at the guard that I was talking about, Troy Fautanu makes a lot of sense. Zach Frazier, I think, makes a lot of sense to be new center. Again, if you don't know about me and Troy Fautanu, I'm a big person on him rotating to guard. I think it makes a lot of sense for him. Um, just the problem is that this Panthers team is going to be more pass heavy. Um, so I don't know. Wide receiver wise, I definitely think Xavier Worthy, Roman Wilson, Keon Coleman. I think all of those guys could definitely be in play here. I just think this wide receiver class is so deep that you don't necessarily need to go receiver here. I just think Troy Fontano definitely makes the most sense. Looking at like this, like the D line group, no, probably a later pick. Edge group saying Brian Burns leaves. I think I mean maybe Chop Robinson or Darius Robinson. Um Linebacker. Oh, Edgerrin Cooper's really good. But I just think it makes too much sense though to not go Troy Fautanu there. You got to. And JJ McCarthy. What did New England go in the for I'll look at it in a minute. I was gonna say New England. Oh wow. These are some interesting picks for sure. In this simulator. Ricky Pearsall to the Ravens is interesting. Who did the Patriots go first round? They went JJ McCarthy second round. Marvin Harrison. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. So we went and got like that guard. I still think offensive line could be in play here. Braylon Trice though is looking like, oh yeah. Um, who would want to trade up? I mean, if y'all gave me, there's no way that would, yeah. No, I'm not gonna do it. And it's division rival. I wouldn't do that. Okay, I think D line and edge definitely in play here. Granted, again, like I said, I really like the depth of this wide receiver class. I think he can wait on a receiver. Chris Jenkins being here, I would look edge over interior defensive line though. And with Braylon Trice still being here, I know I just picked a Washington guy, but I'm gonna go Braylon Trice here. I just think it makes a lot of sense. I think it makes a lot of sense. Um, Braylon Trice is a guy. I don't have it with me. I think it's somewhere else, but I think I talked about it in the last video. I did a film breakdown on that Texas Washington playoff game, and Braylon Trice is a guy that he's really, really explosive off the edge, like super explosive. And if you were to retain Brian Burns and you lose Gross Matos and replace him with Braylon Trice, I think you're completely fine. Or at least me as a GM, I think I'd be completely fine with that. Braylon Trice just super explosive. He's gonna fly off the line. He really tries. It's just there is some times where he can just get too far up the field, especially in the run game. And it just messes him up. But also sometimes it's a blessing and a curse at the same time with getting too far up the field because sometimes he gets too far up the field and he lucks right into just a TFL for 5 or 6 yards. And then here at 102, Michael Hall Jr., a guy who had a really good Senior Bowl week, I think is in play. I think Cade Stover's in play. Wow, Leonard Taylor dropped all the way to 109. Wow. Wow. There's a few guys I'm definitely considering here. Bo Limmer to go play center for you. I think Michael Hall Jr. makes sense though for them. I really do. Let me look at this linebacking because Tommy Eichenberg's one, so it's probably getting bare thin. I think I could wait on linebacker. I think I'm gonna wait on linebacker. Oh, I just realized this. It is listed as wide receiver, tight end, and edge. Interesting. I do like Cade Stover though. Cade Stover's really like about the last tight end I like in this class. Like I don't really like. I mean, Jaheim Bell's okay. I think I'm gonna go Cade Stover. Really good tight end at Ohio State. Um, his run blocking is not great. If you want to draft a tight end to run block, this is not your guy. This is a pure receiving tight end. Did we pick up 109 or 145? I'm gonna see if we can pick up 109 or 145. We can. Okay, cool. So we trade back 7 spots and pick up 145 from Minnesota. Completely fine with me. They traded up to take Spencer Rattler. Interesting. All the guys still on the board. I'm gonna go Michael Hall Jr. here. Um, dang, and Bo Limmer goes right after that. So it looks like you're rocking Bradley Bozeman. I'm probably throwing Troy Fautanu at left guard. No, because he plays right tackle though. I wonder if you would. I wonder if you would throw Troy Fautanu at right guard, and you could slide Austin. Oh no, because Corbett's playing left guard. Christensen's playing right guard. Okay, that's fine then. Yeah. So Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm sorry. I'm thinking too far ahead. My bad, guys. Michael Barrett, I think it's definitely a good pick here. We're Taj Washington, another guy had a good Senior Bowl week. I just Taj Washington is a small guy, though. He's 5'10", 175. He's a speed threat. I just don't know if they need that. I don't know if they need that. They need to, you know what? We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. I'm gonna go Taj Washington here at 145 at the pick we traded back and picked up. Michael Barrett just goes, man. Now, another thing that's hard on this website is keeping track of who of who I've drafted. So I just took Taj Washington. I did go Michael Hall Jr. So I have not picked up a linebacker, a center, a center. Yeah, linebacker or a center, and then maybe a corner. Linebacker. I think linebacker's definitely got to be the play here, right? It's got to be. So we got 3 picks left. I like linebacker here. Cedric Gray is a guy that I know a lot of people aren't high on, but I am. I can't stop thinking about week 1, 2022. UNC at App State. I'm on the sideline and all I see is Cedric Gray everywhere, every single play. That's all I can think about when I think about Cedric Gray. He just flies around. He's not a guy necessarily that I don't think you're looking at drafting if you want a coverage linebacker, a true just coverage linebacker. He's more of a guy that is just going to go. If they're running the ball, expect Cedric Gray to get there somehow, some way, in my opinion. And I think that could make a lot of sense is if you keep Frankie Louvu, I think Cedric Gray makes a lot of sense. To like kind of be Frankie Louvu kind of be like a mentor for Cedric Gray for like a year. Shaq Thompson probably gets cut or whenever his contract expires, and Cedric Gray steps in. I think that makes a lot of sense. I really do. I might double down here. Oh, I could go Trevor Keegan. Trevor Keegan has a really good pass block grade, but not a great run block grade this year. What about this guy? No. I mean, you could take a chance on him. We could just take a chance on him. Just get a center. I'm thinking about doubling down receiver though. Or do we want to do that or do we want to do that the last pick? Josh Cephas still being here is interesting to me. I'm gonna double down because I kind of like or does this make too much sense? Does this make too much sense for them to take Luke McCaffrey? Do we want to do that for fun? I really like Josh Cephas, though. I really do. He's not a contested catch guy. He's another he's just a speed threat. He's a speed threat. Or David White, Jordan Whittington. Jordan Whittington's one of those guys that he just catches the ball. That's all he really does. He just kind of catches the ball. Where's his drops at? Yeah, 3 drops. Jordan Whittington kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie. I'd much rather go Josh Cephas. McCaffrey just Luke McCaffrey makes a lot of sense. You know what? I'm gonna do it just to troll the Panthers fans that they traded Christian McCaffrey for a third round pick. Right? Or was it second? My bad. Might have been second. Luke McCaffrey to the Panthers. And then 219, I guess I'm looking like guard, another guard maybe, or a center if there even is any left. I'm gonna assume Trevor Keegan went. Chase McClellan. Wait, is Chase McClellan in the draft? I'll have to look that up later. I thought he had more years left. Jace McClellan. Is Jace McClellan actually in the draft? Wow, Jace McClellan entered the draft. All right. Well, you know what? For fun, we're gonna go running back, I think. Let me look at it. Let me look at the interior offensive line real quick. I thought this kid was like highly ranked. He get a bad week though at the Senior Bowl. Let's learn about Dylan McMahon. I mean, they like to take their North Carolina players, their North Carolina like state in state players. They took Chandler Zavala last year. You know what? We're gonna take a center. We're gonna take Dylan McMahon out of NC State. And that's gonna be the last pick of the draft for the Carolina Panthers. Marcellus Dial. Let's see who Mr. Irrelevant is this year. In this draft at least. Oh my god, they just had the Steelers take a running back in the 7th round out of South Dakota State. That just gave me like PTSD. Not specifically a running back, but a player from a Dakota State school, aka South Dakota State, aka Chris Adolakun. All right, let's look at this draft. Let's look at this draft. So PFF mock grade is giving us an A minus. Our first 3 picks, A minus, A minus, A minus. So starting off consistent, I guess. So we did go Troy Fautanu, the listed tackle out of Washington. I do think it makes sense for him to play guards. I really do. At pick 33, we're gonna slot him in to that right guard position. Over here for Brady Christensen. I'm gonna try not to do that though, too much and go back over. Braylon Trice is gonna take over the now hypothetically gone free agent Gross Matos, playing opposite side of Brian Burns. I think it could really work out for Braylon Trice's favor too. Michael Hall Jr. is going to slot in and just be a rotational defensive line guy. Kind of like learn a little bit. I think he could play the edge too, honestly. And then we traded back from 102 actually to 109 where we selected Michael Hall. We also picked up pick 145 in that trade. Where we went and got Taj Washington, a little speed threat, smaller guy, slot guy out of Southern Cal. Pick 165, went and got a guy that, like I said, just a tackle machine, in my opinion, Cedric Gray, linebacker out of North Carolina. Just to kind of fill in that room. We talked about it earlier, a lot mentioned earlier. Kind of, you bring Frankie Luvu back, and this guy learns under Frankie Luvu for a year, and then like you cut Shaq Thompson because he's always hurt and he's getting old. And Cedric Gray hopefully can develop and be that guy to maybe play beside Frankie Luvu. And then Luke McCaffrey as kind of half troll, half he's a guy that goes up and gets the ball. I hate to make this comp because he's a white receiver, but maybe like an Adam Thielen potential there. And Adam Thielen's already in Carolina. And then we went center. It's the 7th and 6th round on these 2 picks, anyways. 7th round, pick 219. We went and got a center out of NC State, Dylan McMahon. Who knows what happens to that? At the very least, he's your backup center behind Bradley Bozeman, I guess. So I don't know. I don't know too much about Dylan McMahon. I'm going to be honest. So yeah, that's our 7th round mock for the Carolina Panthers. Will I do one for the Cleveland Browns? Probably not, just because I'm a Steelers fan and I don't want to talk about the Browns. My plan is for that right now is I plan on doing a Steelers 7th round next week. I know this is very hypothetical. This probably will not happen, but this is just a plan for right now. I'm probably gonna go Steelers 7 round updated, so that'll be 2.0, because the first one we did now 2 months ago, which feels crazy. It feels like 4 weeks ago now. But it says it's 2 months according to YouTube. Probably go 7 round mock Steelers next week, 2.0 updated, update that. And then after that, I do want to do. I know there's a few teams here and there that I do like to do a 7 round, just single 7 round that team. Um, those teams being, I usually try to do a Falcons and Giants one because like my two best friends are Falcons and Giants fans, and I've got some more Giants, some more friends that are Giants fans. The same with the Falcons. I do like to run up. If there's like a big trade in the off season, which that'll be down the road. If last year, I think I mentioned it in the last mock draft. Last year, I did a Jets and Packers one when Aaron Rodgers got traded. And then I know for a fact I definitely want to do the Cardinals. Because I think the Cardinals are the most needy team in this year's draft. And it's not very close. So I'll probably run one up for them, and then probably the Bears too, because I usually try to do one that is like the first overall pick, and then maybe Commanders also since they got the second pick. And then the Patriots, and then who's five? The Chargers. I'll probably try to do one each for those 5 teams because they're the top 5 picks. And then here and there, I'm not saying this is just me just brainstorming to y'all. If y'all are still watching and y'all have got any ideas for me to do mock draft wise, please let me know. I am more than glad to hear y'all's opinions, what y'all want to see. But if this is y'all's first time checking out the channel, I appreciate y'all. I encourage y'all to subscribe to my channel at the very least so you can keep up with my content or come back periodically and visit and see what I've uploaded since the last time you watched something. Because like I said at the beginning, I'm trying to put out the best quality content I can for y'all, and that's the plan until draft day. And then after draft day, gonna try to stay consistent and keep doing stuff. But again, I appreciate y'all's support. I appreciate y'all watching. And I'll see y'all next week. So.